Apparently, there's some proposed legislation in Israel to suppress the mentioning of Jesus. This is crazy talk. When I was in Israel a few months ago, the Jewish folks definitely weren't huge fans of Christians, okay? They were fans that we were coming, we were tourists and doing Holy Land tours, all that kind of stuff. But in terms of like hanging out, wanting to chop it up and like hear about Yeshua, they weren't with it. And the interesting part was finding out from Christians on the ground, Messianic Christians, Syrian Christians, Armenian Christians. If you guys don't know, I'm Armenian. We got to go to the Armenian quarter. Palestinian Christians, how they get treated and how wild it is. And so now it's apparently culminating to a possible law proposed to limit talking about Jesus. So let's jump into this clip.
Conservative Christian leaders are calling on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to stop a bill proposed by members of his coalition to make it criminal to tell people about Jesus in Israel. Our Jerusalem correspondent Daniel.
They do not like it when you try to talk to them about Jesus. They don't like it when you evangelize. They find it extremely offensive. The Jewish folks do.
Cohen is live near Tel Aviv with more. Good morning, Daniel.
Good morning, Allison. Good morning, everyone.
By the way, quick fun side fact: Tel Aviv is arguably one of the most liberal pro-LGBT cities in the world. And it's 30 miles away from Jerusalem, which is one of the most conservative religious cities in the world. The juxtaposition is wild. So he's in Tel Aviv right now, which Tel Aviv is gorgeous. Beach town, amazing, amazing location. And so, yeah, super interesting.
A big story just before, days before Palm Sunday, Good Friday, and Easter. Sacred time for Christians. Two ultra-Orthodox members of Prime Minister Netanyahu's coalition have introduced a bill that would punish believers for sharing the gospel of Jesus with prison time. United Torah Judaism Knesset members Moshe Gafni and
So what basically happened is that in Israel, the folks who are the constituents are the more ultra-Orthodox conservative constituency. So they're conservative, but not in the sense that we think conservative here, meaning there, if you're conservative, you're pushing for more welfare programs because a lot of these ultra-Orthodox gentlemen with the curls in their beard actually don't work. They read Torah and they study all day and they pray all day and they don't work. A lot of times the women will end up working. I think 51%, 52% of the women in these households work. So when you say conservative, you're actually referring, in Israel, you're actually referring, not conservative here, you're referring to more conservative sects of Judaism that don't allow that need more support from the government. So here, liberals would be the ones to give more support for the government. In Israel, it's the opposite, it's the conservatives. And so these same conservatives, they have a harder stance on Judaism and who isn't allowed to do things in terms of how this stuff is set up. So it's a very backwards thing. Hey, you want to see something crazy? 67% of the people who watch this channel are not subscribed. Do me a quick favor, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you stay up to date on all the videos here on the Blessed God Studios channel. And since Netanyahu got back into office, it's only kind of pushed the status quo more. And the status quo there is just like an agreement, an understanding of how things function between these very tense, historic issues between the Muslims, between the Christians, and between the Jewish folks, right? Because remember, Israel became a nation in 1948. So before that, it was very messy.
Yaakov Asher introduced legislation last week making it illegal to share in conversation or produce content online, in print, or by mail. Their explanation of the bill emphasizes a warning to stop Christians in particular. The punishment, 1 year in prison or 2 years for sharing with someone under the age of 18.
This is a sickness of the highest order.
That's insanity. That's insanity.
Joel Rosenberg is the host of the Rosenberg Report and editor-in-chief of All Israel News. He's also a Jewish follower of Jesus.
Obviously, Jewish people don't agree with Christians, evangelicals or others, about who Jesus is, right? We all know that there's a theological difference. But evangelical Christians and other Christians have been so supportive of Israel and the Jewish people. So to silence, to muzzle, and gag even Israelis like myself and others to say, you can't talk to another person about your faith and why you believe it, that is terrible. That is not freedom.
Yeah, that's wild. That's wild. Now, again, Christians are very supportive of Israel, right? And we generate a lot of revenue for Israel because there's a lot of Christians going there for the Holy Land tours, especially from the West. So very delicate issue there.
Although he doesn't agree theologically, Netanyahu has always been a strong friend of evangelicals, speaking at meetings and believing freedom of speech and freedom for Israel's small Christian community should be protected. Now, should this bill gain traction, it could spark a serious clash with the 60 million evangelicals in the United States and 600 million around the world. Gafni first introduced a ban on evangelism in 1999. It went nowhere. United Torah Judaism is in a stronger negotiating position now, though, since Netanyahu needs to keep the party in his coalition, or it could threaten Netanyahu's ability to remain in power. Allison, back to you.
Daniel Cohen, thank you so much.
That's wild. So, again, there's this kind of, agreement that America supports Israel. It's one of our leading, our strategic alliances there, funded a lot of times. And so I'm curious if there's an update on this. The bill would not outlaw talking about Jesus in Israel. It would outlaw, I hate that word, proselytizing. Not the same thing. And it wouldn't even exist if missionaries would just back off, at least in our own country, after 2,000 years of harassment, discrimination, and violence. That's an L, fam. That's an L. People should be allowed to proselytize. Jewish folks should be allowed to proselytize. Everybody should be allowed to proselytize. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Wednesday said he would prevent the passage of a proposed bill by a powerful ally in his governing coalition to punish Christians proselytizing with jail time. The proposal had raised as an uproar with evangelical Christians, one of Israel's strongest and most influential supporters in the United States. They know what time it is. The bill was introduced in January by a pair of ultra-Orthodox Jewish lawmakers, including, and this is what we talk about conservative. It's the ultra-Orthodox. So Ben Shapiro would be Orthodox or Reformed Orthodox. These are ultra-Orthodox, okay? Including I can't say his name. It says soliciting someone to convert their faith should be punishable by 1 year in prison. And solicitations to convert a minor would be punishable with a 2-year sentence. Recently, the attempts of missionary groups, mainly Christians, to solicit conversion of religion have increased. On Wednesday, Netanyahu announced on Twitter, "We will not advance any law against the Christian community." That's a W. But it does go to say that the fact that this was even proposed should tell you how hardened people are to this. In my understanding, when they say Yeshua, when you're in Israel, you're saying Yeshua, right? And so they know what Christians are, but they do not want to talk about Yeshua being the Messiah. And then they don't say his name right. So they say it as almost as a slur, like Yeshu, like don't say his name anymore. Don't say his name in our presence, right? And again, I'll link some videos where I sat with a Messianic Ethiopian Jew in Israel when I was there, and he shared some stuff with us, and we also sat and kind of explore the geopolitical issues there. But it's a wild, wild country, man. So I'm glad that he blocked that bill, but it's still very fascinating. Hey, this clip is from our daily after party stream. If you enjoyed it, consider signing up for our Patreon community for only $5 a month, where you get access to the replays of our daily after party streams, as well as the uncut extended versions of our podcast, Discord access that's private, and a discount code for our merch store, only $5 a month. And ultimately, it's the best way to help us contextualize the gospel of Jesus using media, podcasting, and of course, YouTube. The link for that is in the description or in the pinned comment. The perks are amazing. You should get on there. It's only $5 a month. I'll see you over there, all right? Peace.